Of course.
Of course. Alright, let's go.
Amazing. You could fit a whole village in here.
Whole village? Are you sure? Not just the tip of the village? What? Security reports? Leaden key agents have infiltrated the stronghold and will attack the Great Hall soon. 4 days, 25 hours remaining. Dang it. I just arrived here. Now I have to go back? I don't want to auto-resolve because... Should I auto-resolve? Let's see what happens if I auto-resolve. Hopefully my men are good enough to handle them. Wait, it's not instantaneous? I can see the result? Okay, hold on. Okay, so it was a bad idea to auto-resolve. My men weren't able to handle the attack, so I have to do the manual resolve. Back to Kite Noah again. Back to Kite Noah again. To participate,
Amazing. You could fit a whole village in here.
yeah, my men aren't good enough to handle the Leaden Key agents. Oh! Oh my... Why is it so sudden, huh? Ah. Such a chore. Never mind.
The keep's coming along nicely.
Where is Elm Shore? It's where my next bounty is. Elm's Reach. But there is no Elm Shore. Where is Elm Shore? Nowhere to be found. Okay then. Let's go to Idlewild Bridge. What the heck? Another attack? A small band of trolls and oozes have found their way out of Otnua and will be in the Great Hall soon. What should I build next? Curio shop. Let's go with Forum. The Forum is where ideas and strategies are cultivated and shared. Upgrading the Forum will grant an intellect bonus upon resting at Bright Hollow. Now let's go back to Kaidnua to stave off attacks from Otnua. Is there a way to decrease the rate of invasions from outside and from the inside?
Looks a little healthier than before.
Okay, get ready to pause, because the battle is immediate. Mercenary Mind Striker near death? Dang it. Okay, Mercenary Mind Striker is dead. If they can't handle invasions and I have to do it myself, maybe there's no point of me hiring these individuals. Just manual resolve the attack every time, right? So who died? Oh my goodness, out of 8 hirelings, 3 died. What's the point of me hiring them if they can handle invasions and I have to do it myself? Let's not hire anyone and just go back to Kaidnua every time we have to defend the castle.
Looks a little healthier than before.
Alright, bright hollow hearth. A home is only as comfortable as its hearth. Restoring yours may return semblance of order to the keep. Oh, the forum is in progress? Oh yeah, 7 hours left. Forum construction completed. Artificer's Hall. The Artificer's Hall stores novel contraptions. Rebuilding it will allow you to buy traps there and to receive a mechanics bonus for resting at Bright Hollow. Lord Björnwigar, Bad Visitor. Lord Björnwigar, a cruel ruler from the north, has arrived at the stronghold. He hopes to gain an audience with you concerning a local rebellion. Why does he want to have an audience with me? If he has a rebellion and he wants to put it down, just do it. No need to involve me. Why come to me? Ah, very well. Oh yeah, I forgot. Last time Azuro was in the castle keep, not in Bright Hollow.
Better indeed.
Have some faith in me, Aloth. If I could have a moment of your time, says Lord Björnwigar. Lord Björnwigar says, I've heard a lot about you, Lord Arismital. You seem like a man who knows how to get results. I have a matter I'd like to discuss with you, if you'll hear me out. Steward says, I would urge caution, my lord. Lord Björnwigar has gained a reputation as a man of brutal temperament. Some would call him cruel. You hear the steward's soft-spoken words within your head. Arismital says, "Very well, let's hear it. By the way, thank you for the information, my dear steward. What do you think? Whatever he asks for, should I help him or should I decline? I'll consult you later." You call your allies together and motion for the petitioner to step forward. Lord Björnwigar says, "As a ruler of Kaidnua, I'm sure you've seen your share of troublemakers, people determined to tear you down so you can share in their misery. I've had a few incidents on my land, rebel-arousing peasants, you see. Shameful as it is, they've gotten somewhat out of hand, refusing to work, threatening my guards, spouting this nonsense about unfair treatments. It's not as if I don't pay them. In any case, I fear they won't back down. The situation will only get worse if I don't put an end to it. Things might get a little messy. I thought it best to consult you on the matter first." Why is he asking me for help? I don't want to get involved. Just do whatever you want to do on your domain. Just don't disturb my domain. Adismital asks, "What exactly have these peasants been saying?" Lord Björnwigar says, "Oh, the usual." Björnwigar folds his arms, that they don't enjoy the benefits of their labor, that they are treated too harshly. They are lazy, my lord, that's all. Arismital says, "I have other questions." Lord Björnwigar says, "Yes, any advice at all is welcome." Arismital says, "My steward informed me you have quite the nasty reputation, that you're cruel and merciless." Björnwigar stiffens. "I simply know the value of efficiency. These peasants should know their place." Okay, efficiency. Arismital have other questions. Arismital says, "I'd like a moment to discuss this with my people." Lord Björnwigar says, "Of course, of course." Wait, why am I sending Aloth? Why? Why am I sending Aloth? For what? Arismital motions for his guest to return. Lord Björnwigar says, "Well, that was quick. Have you come to a decision?" Arismital says, "In these matters, it's best to find middle ground. Grant them a few freedoms, so long as they continue to work." Lord Björnwigar says, "It seems a soft approach." Björnwigar's nose wrinkles. "They'll think themselves victorious." Arismital says, "Without people, you've nothing to rule over but rocks and trees. Try showing at least a little respect." Okay? Lord Björnwiger frowns, but there's a thoughtful look in his eye. Well, hopefully you start treating your workers better. If not for moral reasons, think of it in a utilitarian way. Happy workers hopefully will bring you more production. What I meant to say is, hopefully happy workers become more productive. And if they become more productive, well, you also benefit, right, Lord Björnwiger? Lord Björnwiger says, I'll grant that there's some merit in what you say. Thank you, Lord Arismittal, for your time. I'll consider your words while I journey home. Lord Björnwiger leaves the stronghold. Artificer's Hall construction completed. Oh yeah. What's next? Chapel. The chapel is a religious center of the stronghold. It will allow you to purchase scrolls from a priest and grants a bonus to resolve upon resting at Bright Hollow.
I trust all is well. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help.
How are you doing, my dear steward? Any concerns and complaints? What is the state of the keep, my dear steward? Steward says, where to begin? Let's see here. See you later, my dear steward.
The keep's coming along nicely.
Chapel construction completed. Vicious war criminal has arrived, seeking employment. He was nearly set upon by brigands on the road, but your patrols intervened. Seeking employment? Should I hire a vicious war criminal? Can I guarantee that he's not going to be vicious towards my subjects? -4 crown, prestige. No, no way, man. -4, no. I'll hire Berathit cleric, and then Rawa tie line breaker. And Vailian shock mage. No vicious war criminal. I don't want to take a hit on the prestige. Curio Shop. The Curio Shop trades in oddball curiosities, allows you to purchase the parts of exotic creatures, and generates a random creature part every turn in the Stronghold treasury. Curio Shop construction completed. Bright Hollow Hearth. A home is only as comfortable as its hearth. Restoring yours may return a semblance of order to the keep. Bright Hollow Hearth construction completed. Upon his return, Lord Björnvigar was able to quell the uprising. Trade has slowed in the area, but you are regarded as a local hero. When it says quell, I hope it means that Lord Björnvigar made concessions instead of using force against his subjects. I can only hope. Bright Hollow Lab. Purchasing this upgrade will restore the lab inside Bright Hollow. Bright Hollow Lab construction completed. Alright, the final structure. Bright Hollow Courtyard Pool. Purchasing this upgrade will repair the courtyard pool inside Bright Hollow. Bright Hollow Courtyard Pool construction completed. Azuro has arrived, offering to sell you Mabek's Morning Star for 1200 CP. He was nearly set upon by brigands on the road, but your patrols intervened. Alright, now I have built all the structures in my castle. I want to look at them. All of them. This is the forum. Next, we're going to look at the Artificer's Hall. This looks like something from an Aidiran drinking game, in which several vials are filled with water and one with concentrated sun-red liquor. Springs, gears, and wires jangle around in the crate. Interlocking rings are carved with peculiar symbols. They slide across one another with a soft series of clicks.
Greetings.
Artificer says, "Greetings, my lord. Here you will find only the most ingenious of contraptions, oils and snares, and Dwemer crafts, all to fatter and frustrate your foes. You wish to have a look?" Arismittel says, "Let me see what you have." Concussive missile strap, dart trap, okay.
Last thing the Deerwood needs is another foreign colony.
Next is Botanical Gardens. Is this it? Just like this? This is not impressive. Not at all. Hedge Maze. I can't even enter the hedge maze. What gives? Come on. Next is Curio Shop. Essence shimmers within these bottles. Dozens of spider legs protrude from the necks of these bottles. Curio Shopkeeper.
Hail and well met.
Curio Shopkeeper says, "It's good to see you, my lord. I have all manner of odds and ends here, acquired from every corner of the Deerwood. Spider venoms cool to the ears. Anything you might wish?" Adismital says, "I'd like to see what you have." Curio Shopkeeper says, "Certainly." What is this Vithrak brain? The large gelatinous brain of a Vithrak. Though the Vithrak are known to possess impressive powers of the mind, there is no obvious source for said power on the brain's wrinkled surface. Next, we're gonna check Bright Hollow again. I think the hearth refers to the first floor.
Last thing the Deerwood needs is another foreign colony.
You really don't see enough fountains in Deerwooden architecture.
Is that so, Sagani? I don't know. Okay, look at this. The Bright Hollow first floor has been restored. Yeah, it's much better than before. It was ruins before, now it's... And this thing... not thing, I mean this place is also restored. Alright. Rich savory stew bubbles over the hearth. I've been to the second floor. Now let's check the other buildings.
I must say, I'm impressed.
Azuro, merchant living in 1 hour, offering Mabek's Morning Star. Mabek's Morning Star. The paladin... Wait, is the time still going? No, pause the game. Mabek's Morning Star. The paladin Mabek was called to an ancient forest by a vivid dream. In this dream, he watched a tree grow from a seedling to the tallest tree in the forest, only to be felled by lightning strike. He saw himself placing his hand inside the hollow trunk and withdrawing a morning star of incomparable power. Mabek rode into the forest, following his memory of the dream, only to find the great tree completely intact. Far from civilization and armed only with his sword, Mabek nevertheless began to hack at the tree trunk. In 2 weeks, it took weeks, but he was eventually able to fell the tree. How many weeks are you talking here? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Again, however, Mabek was confounded. He found no hollow in the trunk, nor a weapon of any kind. Undaunted, he continued to hack at the trunk, all the way to the tree's thick center ring, which he left intact. When he finished, he took the core of the tree and had it fashioned into the shaft of a morning star. He had his own blade, now as blunt as a wooden sword, nailed it down and reforged into the morning star's head. So powerful was Mabek's belief in the truth of his vision, that the new weapon, though completely unremarkable in its materials, took on its master's zeal, and became great in its own right. Oh, I see. Yeah, let's purchase it. Why not? Ah.
Indeed.
What is next? Oh yeah, the chapel, Kaidnua Keep, and the training grounds. May the gods guide and protect all who seek their blessing. Chapel Priest.
Well met, friend.
Chapel Priest says, "Greetings, my lord. I thank you for restoring our chapel to its former glory. I am certain the gods look favorably upon you. I have gathered what scrolls I could find. Perhaps they can be of use to you in your travels." Aris Mittal says, "Let me see what you have."
Amazing. You could fit a whole village in here.
This is the training ground? This is so unimpressive. What the heck?
Find a good epic and a flask of Adira brandy, and I could spend some time here.
Yes, Aloth, yes. Euthasian prayer. Have I read this before? I don't remember. Yes, I've read this before. What about this one? Have I read this one? I don't remember. Let's just read it again. And if you have read this, or if you're not interested, you can skip this part. Admeth Hadret, Part 2 Rebellion. Over the 5 years following his ascension to Gref, Admeth attempted to mend the relations with the Glanfathans and bring his land together with theirs. He enacted laws that restricted the taking of new slaves, allowed Glanfathans to buy their fellows out of bondage, and imposed a tax on slave ownership in order to promote the use of free labor. While there was some resistance to these new laws, the Ferconians' attention to Reatseras and Admeth's power, backed by the colonists, made it difficult for the earls to truly resist what was happening. In 2662 AI, in the year of the 10th anniversary of the War of Black Trees, Admeth brought about the end to slavery in the Dierewood. He negotiated a series of treaties with the Glanfathans, wherein a timeline was established for the official emancipation of all remaining slaves. Each owner would receive compensation in either land or money based on the number of slaves freed. If they didn't comply, the slaves would be seized and their former masters would suffer a substantial fine. In return for this, the Glanfathans opened trade routes with the Dierewood and allowed Dierewoodans to live in and near areas that had their sacred ruins, but they are under no conditions to enter the ruins. As a final act of goodwill, Admeth freed Galven Reged, saying he had suffered sufficiently for his actions. The Ferconian, seeing he was completely out of control in his own palatinate, devised a plan to get the supply of ancient artifacts running again. He approached the earls suffering under Admeth's rule and convinced them to hire agents to raid the ruins. Initially they did so in secret, but they quickly became sloppy, eventually being caught. This breach of the treaties incited Glanfathans again to acts of violence while Admeth researched who was behind it. With help of the Glanfathan leaders, Admeth found evidence that pointed back to the Ferconian as the source of the raids. That was the beginning of the end for Idieran rule in the Dierewood. Over the next 7 years, Admeth and the Ferconian maneuvered around each other, playing political, economic, and military games in order to gain the upper hand. In 2668 AI, Admeth declared the Dierewood had had enough. The Ferconian would no longer be recognized. The Dierewood was now a free entity and would govern itself. This started the War of Defiance, which lasted 5 years. The end result of the war was freedom for the Dierewood, and though Duke Hadret would never live to see it come to a close, the people of Dierewood consider him the founder of the country nevertheless. Berathian scripture. Have I read this before? Behold, thou faithful, the visage of thy transformation. Fear not the journey when the portal opens. Become one with the will with glad heart and cheerful countenance, for the doorway shall open for all in their time. Neither the rich nor influential, neither kings nor rulers, neither the strong nor powerful can escape its embrace. Berath will usher thee through the doorway, and thou willst return to life. Thy mortal life began anew. There goest the cycle, there goest life, there thou goest also. Thou shalt approach the door, the inevitable shall approach thee. Do not turn back on the portal, do not turn back on new life. Walk the path and welcome change or face the night, for he walks the road with thee and will guide all to their destination. Thou mortal, the skull thou wilt become. Thou closed off, the key thou shalt turn. thou sealed the threshold thou shalt cross. What is with the recurring theme of key? First, the leaden key, and that masked man talk about the weight of the book, the key, and now this one talking about the key as well. The many faces. Wait. The many faces of Berath. How fitting that we know the god of cycles, always mortality, and inevitability as Berath, while the Violians know this very same god as Sirono. For if nothing else, Berath teaches us that duality exists in all things. There is life in death and death in life. Embrace this duality and you honor Berath. In the ruins of Eirglanfath, Berath is depicted in the form of two semi-skeletal figures, one male, one female, Beonen I Ankeo and Ankeo I Beonen, literally life in death and death in life, in the Glanfathan tongue, male and female inside and outside, life and death. We often think of Berath by imagining two sides of coin, or the two endpoints of a journey. It's said that Berath has the most petitioners of every god. It is likely true. Who amongst us has not prayed for the cycle to hiccup? Who has not, in a moment of sadness, yelled at Berath to make an exception for our fallen loved ones? Berath may not rescue our loved ones, but it answers our prayers in its own divine way. Berath is the god that makes life end in death, and it is also the god that makes death end in life. Berath Sirono, Beunen I Ankeo, Ankeo I Beunen, whichever of the many names you prefer to use, deserves our prayers, for it has given us the promise of life's eternal renewal. "10 Years of Dawn." Have I read this before? You know, it's been a long time, quite a long time since I played this game last, so I don't remember whether I have read this or not, but I will assume that I have read this. And if I haven't read this in my previous videos, you can take note of the title of this book, 10 Years of Dawn, and you can search it on the internet. You wanna read it yourself. This map shows the Deerwood's old colonial borders. A settlement called New Dunried is marked in the place of present-day Defiance Bay. Psalm to Woidika. Ye exiles, ye broken, fear not the vengeance of the burned queen. Wait, I mispressed. Fear not the vengeance of the burned queen. She watches from her throne, ever vigilant. She hears the oath thou doth speak at her altar. She hears the oath thou doth speak in thine home. She hears the oath thou doth speak in the dark. For ye who would keep thy word, thou shalt escape the justice of her gaze. Beware, ye liars, ye unfaithful. Beware ye with a hardened heart. Beware, for the eye of Woidika will not be blinded. She hears the sundered oath. She is not fooled by the winding path. She attends the broken promise. She sees the deceiver. There is no shadow too dark. Her gaze will find thee. Her justice will not be restrained. The fires of justice will never be quenched. The throne will crack. What throne? The law will burn, but the queen that was always will be. Speak not an untruth, or thy tongue will be bound. Remember thy place, remember thine oath, remember thine queen. Okay, I remember the masked man back at Sealant Lys. He mentioned a queen. Interesting. Did he mention a queen? Or some kind of a goddess? I don't remember. But he mentioned three things. A book, the crushing weight of the book, the key, and then the queen that was, I think. Why is he talking the queen that was, as if it is no longer queen? Daily affirmations of focus and efficiency. Alright, I'm not sure if I read this before. Keep note on the title and you can read this yourself on the internet. Daily affirmations of focus and efficiency. The Ideal Empire Part 2. Wait, where's Part 1? Is there no Part 1 in this room? Okay, is there a way for me to find out in the journal whether I've read a book or not? Look, I cannot keep up with all these books, whether I've read it before or whether I have not. But if you wanna read the book itself, like I said before, take note of the title, the title, and search it on the internet, and read it, and you can read it for yourself if you're interested. I am interested, but I'm not sure whether I've read this or not, because it's been months since I played this, so I don't remember, and I don't want to accidentally read a book that I've already read, because it would be wasting time, my time. So take note of the title, and you can read it yourself on the internet. The Ideal Empire Part 2 Expanding Borders. I think I haven't read this before, right? I wish this game's journal has a system to mark whether I've read a book or not. That way I can keep track of the books I haven't read and avoid reading a book I've already read before. I hate this. The Deerwood Part 2, The Broken Stone War. The Deerwood Part 1, Early Colonial History. Saint Widewin, Farmer Become God. Kyanite Scripture. Burn, feel thy hatred twist within thee, feed thyself on its bile, sustain thyself on its anger. This hatred, this bile, this anger, these shall be the tools for thy rebellion. Let thine heart seethe. There is no satisfaction in open confrontation. Hide thine hatred, let it grow that it may fester. Make thy plots in secret. The quiet slave stays in the shadows. His face seeks not the light. In darkness doth he work, in darkness doth he move. Rebel against those that seek to control thee. Rebel against those that wish to remove thee. Really? Who is this? Who are the people wanting to remove thee? Okay. Maybe next time I'm playing a game like this, I'm going to write a note. A note that I will put right beside me, listing everything that I have read, whether it's a book or a note or a journal, whatever. The Deerwood Part 5, The Proliferation of Animancy. I read this before. The Great Western Stag. Nasitak Poetry, a compilation. The expedition, I move. There is no compulsion. It is not a need. But something pulls. I cannot deny its draw. The white wends out past my vision. Its fierce eyes watch me as I move. The wolf tracks my step, the silent companion who will not join. All is blank, the pale expanse lies before and behind. I search. The miles pass and still my feet move. My hunt continues unabated. Where was I? I was interrupted. I search. The miles pass and still my feet move. My hunt continues unabated. The landscape returns my gaze, unaffected by my presence. The snow falls, needles driven by the wind. Its cold teeth bite my skin. The snow gathers, its hands around my feet. A fierce opponent who will not relent. All is white, my journey continues. I travel. I can no longer stop. A true compulsion forms. The need drives me on. I must see. The sun breaks through the grey. Its unrelenting gaze thaws me. My body warms under its touch. Rigid limbs move again and carry me farther. All is empty. The breath of existence is my destination. Monsters of the Dead Fire Archipelago. The archipelago winds its way between the Great Eastern Ocean and the Restless Ocean. Hundreds of small islands in the midst of the water. Few dare brave its treacherous rapids, and fewer still have returned to tell the tale of their adventures through it. Travel between the two oceans is virtually impossible. Greater storms hammer any ships foolhardy enough to attempt to navigate, and this alone should be enough to deter anyone from attempting the voyage, as untold ships have gone down, tossed against the rocks. The weather and treacherous rocks are only a precursor to the actual horror of the archipelago, the terrors of the deep. No one knows how many creatures stalk the oceans, waiting for unsuspecting sailors to drift into their waters, but we do know of some. Barb Ravager, a giant shark that is known to ram passing vessels, trying to knock sailors off the deck and smash a hole in the hull. It has tremendous spines protruding from its side and back that are presumed to be poisonous. The largest sighted Barb Ravager with survivors was estimated to be almost 30 feet long. Winding serpent, smaller around than the Ravager, but potentially longer. The winding serpent attacks in small packs, usually 3 to 8. They have long, sharp heads, somewhat reminiscent of a barracuda. Like the Ravager, they repeatedly slam into the side of a ship, hoping to crack a hole in it or knock someone from the deck. They have also been known to swim to the depths and shoot up out of the ocean, landing on the deck, coiling and winding their way around, snapping up any crew they can before plunging back into the ocean. Snapping up every crew they can before plunging back to the ocean? That's scary, dude. Very scary. Leviathan. I imagine the largest whale you have ever seen. The Leviathan is at least 10 times that size. By the time a ship sees a Leviathan, it is already too late, as they rise from the depths. As it rises from the depths, the water around them begins to spin and sink, creating a whirlpool. The Leviathan's body surrounds the hapless vessel, preventing escape, and as it goes down, the enormous mouth opens, pulling all aboard to their watery deaths. Polpovira, all the creatures you read about in this book, are nothing compared to the Polpovira, barely the size of a man. What they lack in size and strength, they make up for in numbers and terrifying viciousness. Their lower halves are a mess of tentacles, like an octopus or squid, but more numerous. The tentacles are long black whips with suction cups on the underside and small, thorny barbs on the top. The sheer number of tentacles gives them frightening speed when walking on land, pulling themselves forward almost as fast as a running horse. While they vaguely resemble a human from the waist up, any extended examination proves how wrong that assumption is. Long, stringy black hair falls from the top of their heads, cover a face taken directly from a nightmare. A wide gaping mouth cuts across the bottom of its head from ear to ear, full of wicked dagger-like teeth. Two large round eyes are sunken to its head, black as coal, shining with a malevolent fire. A small antenna protrudes from the middle of its forehead, ending in a small nodule that can glow with an eerie blue light. One can imagine a sailor on the deck of his ship at night, looking out across the black water, blood freezing as countless lights appear beneath the surface, rising toward him as the Polpovir swarm upward. Because they seem to be more octopus than a man, they can collapse in on themselves, fitting into spaces no person should be able to. The smallest crack in a hull, the slightest separation between boards offers them entrance. It is not unknown for them to slaughter an entire crew from hold up to deck by infiltrating the ship from underneath. Fortunately, they do not seem to have spread too far outside of the archipelago, but there may come a day when Polpovir attacks become commonplace. Why? Why do you speculate that one day Polpovir attacks become commonplace? When you are saying that not many ships willing to sail there, does it mean you speculate that the Polpovir populations will reach our place, this place, eventually, like expansion or migration? House Dominel. What can be said about House Dominel that isn't whispered fearfully in a back room over the dim light of a dying fire, in fear that the wrong set of ears will hear it? The Dominel history is colorful and violent, exciting and more than a little bloody. The Dominels were a small, eye-ridden family that dealt almost exclusively in textiles. They made a modest living, slowly gaining a reputation for having high-quality product. This reputation earned them connections, business, social, and sometimes marital, that solidified their positions as a premier family of the region. If you wanted access to anyone, the Dominels were the way to do it. Soon, every city had a business that was owned, at least in part, by the Dominel. Their power and influence grew until many said the family had more power than even the Verkonian of Idea. But with the power came the corruption. One cannot have that level of control and expect to keep it through strictly legal means. Soon, rumors were spreading of threats and extortion, though it cannot be proven. The unofficial report is that the Doimenels were responsible for the death of Trindik Björnwiger, which left his entire shipping empire in the hands of his wife, Udele Doimenel Björnwiger. With their hold on the land practically secured, the Doimenels no longer stuck the shadows, brazenly eliminating opponents, manipulating and threatening anyone who might cause them a problem. Because they now dominated the trade route, no one dared oppose them anymore, for fear their business would be strangled. Well, okay. So, Rindik Björnwiger, is he somehow connected to Lord Björnwiger, the dwarven lord that previously seek audience with us? General Goods Merchant. Mabek's Morning Star. Isik Bertum Fragment.
Greetings.
General Goods Merchant. Greetings, my lord. Fancy a new blade. Maybe an axe. I've plenty here to take the fancy of any man of action, or perhaps some ingredients and spices for the road. I've oils and tinctures for the ailing man too. Want to have a look? Adismito says, show me your wares. Okay, weapons and potions, rope and grappling hook. Verse and Nasua. A sketch of a young elven woman with large eyes and a small fine nose is tucked under the pillow. Whose picture of woman is this, huh? 3 greasy playing cards are hidden under the coverlet. Okay, shall we test the endless path once again? See what is the source of all this invasion. Well, not all this invasion. I mean, so far there's only one invasion from underground. So let's find out what is the source of this of the previous skeletal invasion from the ground. Wait, there's a jailer? Oh yeah, I constructed the jail, the dungeon, I think. Scary looking jailer. Is he wearing a mask?
Welcome.
Jailer says, wow, that was a friendly voice. Jailer, greetings, my lord. I'm here to maintain the cells for you. Should you take any prisoners in your travels, I will make sure they are tended to as you see fit. Nobody in here right now, but I'm sure you'll change that soon enough. Okay, so I can take prisoners. What about slaves? I want to take slaves. Female slaves. Hot, fit, healthy. Of course, I will not mistreat them. Well, maybe I shouldn't use the word slaves. What about harem? A harem of fit, healthy, buff, hot women. Or maybe it could be a harem of female sex slaves. But I wonder, I'm playing as an Orlan, and they are small creatures. Will as an Orlan, the protagonist able to, to perform the deed if the female is of a bigger race? I'm curious. This is the place where I fought Mirewald. The place that I could not enter earlier was in the southeast corner.
Here we are. To think we are so close. Beneath our very feet lie the endless paths built by Ard Nua, the great Engwithan king. Well, Up here, this is all Adiran, of course. But should we descend far enough, we will find some real history.
Kana poses.
To uncover that great king's tomb would be a dream. But it is one of his servants I am after. Gabranos, a powerful mage and a dedicated scholar. A keeper of lore, just as I mean to be. He was in possession of the Tanvi Oratoa, or whatever form of it preceded the one we know. I've seen it in ruins, alongside Gabranos' name. Scraps of the same symbols and verses we know in Rauatai. He must have held the words in high regard. Or perhaps he was even the author.
Arismital asks, why does this book matter so much? Kana says, Rauatai faces troubled times. Once we were a unified people. That's changing. And the Tanvi Oratoha is at the heart of that. There are those who say that we haven't held to its instructions, that we've allowed ourselves to grow weak, and polluted our traditions by welcoming foreigners rather than laying claim to the lands around us, that we must hold to those traditions. We are to make ourselves a nation to be feared. My brothers would have it so, but we don't need to isolate ourselves to make Rauatai great. I know there's more to the chant. It wasn't created out of sand and water 1,000 years ago, but brought to Rauatai by the Engwithans, by a people that knew the value of alliances and shared their knowledge with us, and with that knowledge we made Rauatai what it is today. If I can find the original, I can prove it. They'll know that the chant is far older than we believed, that the Engwithans favored peace and the trade of knowledge. If we follow in their footsteps, we can make a kingdom just as grand and lasting as theirs. What should I say? Maybe I should be on Kana's good side, agreeing with him. Arismital says, averting conflict is a noble ambition. Kana says, and a lofty one, I know. Kana grins. I'm glad you feel the same. I feel it's the better course for Rauatai. We're a people of many races, and we've always stood together. I feel we are destined for greatness. Arismital asks, are you always this excitable? Kana says, we're on the verge of a great discovery. I wonder at your restraint. Arismital says, you sound very impressed by this Gabranos. Kana says, they say he held the power over the elements. Kana cups, but I'm more interested in his writing. He was a prolific author. I haven't been able to translate everything, but I've seen enough to know that he traveled far and wide. If only we could have met him, what wisdom he could share, that we can follow in his example, and strive to learn from those around us, improve upon it. Arismital asks, you haven't actually read his writing? Kana says, well, not entirely. How could I? It's a dead language, and hardly anyone has translated even a small fraction of it. But what little I can, I have translated. By comparing the symbols in its work to what others have found, I pieced together a phrase from the Tanvi Oratoha, clear as day. I even gave it to the keeper to check, but she was convinced I'd written it myself. Arismital says, let's start looking then.
If my sources are correct, Gabranos will have brought the text with him. It will probably be within a library, or a tomb perhaps. It tends to be one of the two. Let's be off!
Yes, let's, Kana, my dear.
Of course.
Alright, Here we go. Let's see. What's beneath the castle? Oh, it's a Zaurib. New map discovered. Endless paths of Ordinua level 2. Yeah. Worm wing. Even at their youngest, dragons are dangerous creatures. It is the wing from a worm, already impressive in its span.
What?
Indeed.
This crooked effigy has been cobbled together with logs, scaled hides, iron bones. A human skull adorns the top. This Zaurib is lying in a corner of the chamber. Its ribs show starkly beneath its scaly hide, and its breathing is labored, each whistling breath causing obvious discomfort. Sagani squints at the creature. This one's ill. See how dull the eyes are? It doesn't seem to be reacting to your presence. Examine the Zaurib. You look the sick creature over and notice that its skin shows some discoloration, with ugly patches of yellow and livid purple. It seems to match the symptoms of a common poison known as mockgus tears. You also note that the discoloration is worse underneath the painted symbols daubed onto the creature's skin. Mockgus tears. Huh. So what, should I concoct an antidote? But how? Leave it alone. How can I concoct an antidote? Huh? Tell me how. Crafting. Food. Potions level 1. Potions level 2. Scrolls. Potions level 4. Prevents a severely wounded character's health. Okay. Flame shield, major endurance, major recovery, potion of major regeneration. Not enough materials to add potion of major regeneration. Okay. Wizard's double. There is potions but no antidotes. What the heck? What about food? I don't think so. What should I do then?
See? See now what the flame has shown us?
What's this?
It's done.
Broken blade. This is the upper half of a broken blade. The metal is of fine quality, and it is unclear what caused it to snap neatly at the midpoint. The blade of the endless paths. Find more pieces of the ancient sword. Alright? Hurled against the inside of this broken shell is a tiny white shape. Only when a tiny tooth maw opens to let out a frightened squeak is it clear that this is a small worm, recently hatched. Pick up the worm. Then what? You have gained an item, tiny white worm, added to inventory. Okay? Then what? These cracked eggshells are leathery but brittle. Most of them have been trampled into a fine dust stamped with tiny clawed footprints.
Let's see what we found.
gotta take better care of Ella.
And key. Worn by Pefrel, a paladin of the kind wayfarers. This breastplate bears an elegant relief of two hands presenting a key. Pefrel commissioned the armor to demonstrate his dedication to the idea of opening paths and doors for those who might otherwise find the passage too dangerous. While his devotion to the order dictated almost every facet of the man's life, Pefrel was also a faithful adherent of the god Berath, and the hand and key served as a personal reminder that the final door he opened would bring him into the god's keeping. Faramun's curse. This rolled-up piece of parchment is covered in smeared charcoal scrolls. Let me get it down in writing. I knew this was a shit plan from the start. Marek, gleeful as a toddler, convinced we were going to talk the Zaurips into helping us fill our pockets, help Andras right into the great big pit, or like. And now you've all run off like hares. Meanwhile, here's me up to my armpits in bones and Zaurip feces. I hope you all rot down here. I hope Marek trips right off the edge of the world, and Draf then loses what's left of his wits and guts. The rest of you. 5 of us left and you run. Curse each and every one of you, and curse me too for dying here on account of a bunch of mewling piss-pots. Here's for when one of you rotten lizard bastards learns some Idiran. I hope you all effing choke. So this guy's name is Farmund. His comrades abandoned him. Well, maybe they all escaped. Maybe they all tried to escape. Maybe it's just Farmund who was slow. I'm not sure. What is this? Zaurip High Priest, stepping into this chamber, you are assailed by a cacophony of screeches, growls and barks. Blood-spattered Zaurips dance in frenetic leaping motions. To one side, a Zaurip plunges his hand into a bucket, teeming with blood, to daub patterns onto others eager to join the rites. At the far end of the room, one Zaurip wearing the long skull of a young drake and vibrant feathers shakes a staff toward the gathered Zaurips, screeching and clicking. The high priest suddenly raises the staff above his head, shrieking with renewed vigor. He swings the staff downward to point it at the pit, and then at you. Anna says, I think we've just been invited to participate. Oh, really? Who is this ghost, huh? There is only death upon the endless paths. Who said that? Lost spirit, turn back. There is only death upon the endless paths, says the lost spirit. Okay? The blood spilled from this bucket seems to have eaten into the stone. The rope tied to the bucket looks long enough to descend into the pit. This bucket is filled with blood and gives off an acrid stench. You recognize it as Mokga's tears, a powerful poison. Huh? Interesting. The other Zaurip is also poisoned by Mokga's tears. Endless Paths of Otnua, level 3. What is this? More Baker messages? Not interested. Get out of here. I hear some sounds like drums being struck. Whatever the correct grammar is. Okay, the Zaurips at level 2. How did they get inside? They must have dug into the ground, because if they got in from the top of the castle, we would have known. They would have been alerted. Or perhaps the Zaurips made their camp on level 2 way before Arismital and his companions arrive. Way before Mirewald, perhaps. But they must have an alternative route to exit. Because assuming the Zaurips were here before Mirewald, when they got out, when the Zaurips exit the place through the castle keeps, they should encounter Mirewald and there should be battles. And it's unlikely that Mirewald held them off by himself, so they must have another route to exit this place and bypass the keep entirely. Though worn away by time, many of these alcoves are engraved with Aidiran surnames.
Let's see what we found.
What is this? Ulgar says, don't skulk, come into the light. Cast in orange hues by the guttering torches, a massive creature sits at the rear of this wide chamber. There is an acrid stench of blood and offal about the room, and a hot, malodorous gust wafts towards you as the ogre rises, stirring up the dust beneath its feet. Ulgar says, if they had only known how many unwitting fools would wander into my camp, I would not have been exiled. Despite his words, the ogre studies you dispassionately. His pale, grim features are streaked with dried blood. Ulgar says, but then I think they have lost a taste for Orlan, now that they have feasted on one another for so long. The ogre turns away. I will not be fattened for the eating. Arismital says, I'd say you're more big bone than fat. Ulgar says, Herm, you are no illusion of mine. I thought perhaps I was imagining that a good meal had come strolling out of the darkness. He shakes his head. You should not have come, Orlan. Wait, I didn't mean to provoke you. I was just joking. I am Thulgar, once most trusted of Zola's warriors. Once, the ogre shrugs a shoulder. It matters not. Go but a little way south and you'll find what's become of us. Once a dozen strong, and now we are nothing. Our great chief enraged by voices, and our people driven to devouring one another. And I, the coward, wait here to die alone, easier said than done. Ulgar gestures to a heap of bones and cloth. Hunger has a will of its own. Matron Zola knows that well. Arismital asks, you're all starving, isn't there something to eat down here? Ulgar says, we have lived here for many years, the caverns have changed around us, many old tunnels have been closed, perhaps it's the spiders' doing. For a time we feasted on the Zauribs and lived well, but the Zaurib tribes have become diseased, poisoned. We did not notice at first, not until we too began to grow weak. Some of us became like feral creatures maddened by the poison. Matron Zola, strongest of us, she did not go so easily. Her madness came slowly. Some of us went on eating the Zauribs, of course, even knowing there was nothing else. They died painfully, but quickly. Others tried venturing out into the great stair, trying to find a way out. Zola forbade us from leaving, in time. If we could not find anything to hunt, then some of us, she said, must sacrifice themselves. I don't understand. Why is this Matron Zola orders her people not to go outside? Why? Why do they not want to go outside? Arismital asks, who are you? Thulgar says, I am Thulgar, once most trusted of Zola's warriors. Once, the ogre shrugs a shoulder. It matters not. Okay, it repeats the earlier sentences. Arismital asks, you're cannibals? Ulgar says, yes, we have come to that. Even I have tasted it. There is no returning from that, I think. I will remember the moment for what remains of my life. Arismital asks, what happened to your leader? Thulgar says, Matron Zola, she was plagued with dreams from the moment we came here. Terrible dreams of something down below. She was convinced we should not go there. Thulgar lowers his head. I told her it was nothing, thought nothing of it, until we discovered the poison within the Zauribs. It changed her. Whatever the voice spoke, she grew harder, colder. Perhaps it was enough that the voice was never silent. Through all those days and nights, perhaps the poison made the dreams all the worse. It is harder, perhaps, to see madness in those closest to you. But I should have seen it all the time. Too late for that now. Arismital says, I should put an end to this, Zola. Wait, the phrasing was wrong. I should put an end to this, Zola. Ulgar says, yes, if we could do that, then at least we will be free of this madness. Who knows how long we might remain eating one another, until there is but one of us left. Bring me her torque, and I will know the deed is done, that our clan at last is finished. Consider this the final request of a fallen ogre, Orlan. Do what I cannot, and I will find some reward worthy of your service. Anna says, an impressive statue. How old do you think this is? Housed within a quiet alcove, this stone figure strides boldly forward, one arm held high. Inspect the statue. Judging by the style of clothing and the cracked remnants of a beard upon the statue, Arismital suspects that this is the Earl of Yenwood. A lauded warrior, he was known to lead his men into battle, wielding a gleaming saber. Housed within a quiet... Okay, the Earl of Yenwood. I think I acquire a sword, like at the castle keep. And the sword tells the story of the Earl of Yenwood, who turned crazy, and then one day he went to the forest and never to return again. And I think, according to the story, if I remember correctly, the madness was caused by the sword that I found. Anna says these ogres seem to be a unique breed. If we could only speak with them. Yes, if only. I don't want to fight them. Flies swarm around this decaying ogre head, roving over its dead eyes and slack jaw. Oh, there's an ogre's head on a pike. This wooden scaffolding has rotted away, crumbling under its own weight. Around it are signs of an excavation, evidently abandoned long ago. These massive bones have been picked clean, and several cracked to access the marrow within. All bear the marks of teeth.
What's this? What's this?
Okay, These ogres have green circles, so it's not combatant. At least not yet. So this must be where we have to go. Let's explore the rest of the place first. Okay, immediately turns into a combat. Alright. Zola's torque. This heavy ornate silver torque is of a size to fit a very large ogre. On anything else it might serve as a very uncomfortable belt. The crudely engraved runes along its length suggest this torque holds some ceremonial purpose, though you cannot decipher their specific meaning. A rusted shield decorated with a many-leafed tree adorns the wall. A small engraving at its base reads, "The Earl of Yenwood."
Of course.
Ulgar grunts, "Is it done then?" Adesmital says, "I have some questions for you." Ulgar frowns but nods. "Very well, ask then." Adesmital says, "I have not heard of so many ogres living together before." Ulgar says, "It is not common, not without a matron to bring us together. To counter our squabbles with Sans, Zola was ours, and we have followed her now into death." Adesmital asks, "How did you come to be stranded down here?" Ulgar says, "You were hunting Zauribs through the caverns, and isolated them in the caverns above. We thought that would suffice for a time, and it might have, if the Zauribs had not recently grown sick. Now their poison has infected us, and Zola will not let us leave, even if we wish to try." Adesmital asks, "Do you know anything about a master below?" Ulgar gives you a searching look, frowning. "That is what Zola called it, the voice in her dreams. After we came, we began to have terrible visions. Would feel a presence sometimes. I thought it superstition until I heard it too. And then I thought it an effect of the poisons we were eating. And now you come seeking it out. I do not know what this master is. I know only that it was this creature which prevented us from moving deeper into this place. Zola refused to lead us down into the depths." Ulgar grunts. "Perhaps that is where you will find it." Adesmital says, "That's all the questions I had." Ulgar nods curtly. Adesmital gives Ulgar Zola's torque. Zola is dead. Ulgar takes in a deep breath. He is silent for several moments, and it is done. "Thank you, Orlan. That was not my mate in there. I will not remember her that way." "Oh, so Thulgar and Zola are a couple, or were a couple, all right." Thulgar says, "Here, I will not need this where I go. Use it well. You have gained an item, Rundel's Finery, added to inventory. Wait, Thulgar, where are you going? Thulgar, wait, where are you going? Are you leaving? From which exit point? The castle keep? Oh no. Or maybe he's going deeper down into the levels. Perhaps. Okay, so Kana is badly wounded. Eder, and what's his name again? Durans, also wounded. And Aloth as well, badly wounded. We're going to go back up and rest. We're going to go back up and rest. Let's rest. Hey, jailer, don't go down there, okay? It's very dangerous. Of course, I've cleared the level 3, but still don't go down there. I don't want any one of my subjects to recklessly go down there, especially if it's just out of curiosity.
Amazing. You could fit a whole village in here.
Okay, which bonus should I take? Resolve, Dexterity, Perception, Law, Might. Let's get Might bonus. Lasts for 3 rests. Alright, I'm refreshed now.